It was not even close. They had made a fight of it for the first 13 overs. They were up there with the required rate. But in the end, T. Natarajan, man, 4 for 19. And a fantastic display from them. And Sunrisers Hyderabad, despite the exploits of Jake Fraser McGurk, have managed to win by 67 runs. It is a thrashing. And
it's a shellacking, to use one of our favorite words.
It's a shellacking.
Absolute shellacking. There's no two ways about it. You thought at one point that they could have made a fist of it, maybe lost by a smaller margin and ensured that the damage to the net run rate wasn't as much. But as we got a confirmation of after the match, so bad was this loss that now without doing anything, Mumbai Indians have slipped up to 6th spot or gone up to 6th spot without doing anything.
Yep. Oh, they have moved to the 6th spot at this point in time. And the only thing is, Delhi Capitals have only themselves to blame for 3 reasons. Number 1, the pitch. It worked so against them that they had to concede 260, 250 plus for the second time. 3 times 230 plus.
3 overall.
3 overall, okay. Then it slowed down towards the fag end. After over number 10, it did slow down, but that is no excuse. And third, the approach towards the end was shocking from Rishabh Pant, and this is the first major talking point. The knock that Rishabh Pant played today, 44 of 32 if I am not mistaken, it was the prime reason why Delhi was sunk. Because when Jake Fraser McGurk and Abhishek Porel were all going, he did 2 blunders. One, he started off slowly and promoting a Lalit Yadav ahead of an Axar Patel.
No, there were two major promotions I had a problem with. One is, of course, as you rightly point out, Lalit Yadav over Axar Patel. But even before that, Rishabh Porel or
Abhishek Porel over Rishabh Pant.
Why? Why would you do it? It just goes to show you that, I mean, and it's the second game. I remember even in the game against KKR, Pant came into bat at 5 and I'm like, is he testing himself? Knowing full well that he's got a slot. And actually, I'm sorry, but so far it just hasn't worked, the experiment at 5. Yeah, he got a few good runs against KKR, but masked severely by the fact that he got 30 odd runs of Venkatesh Iyer's one over. Otherwise, even in that match, he was going slow. Same here. At one point, he was batting in a strike rate of 100.
80. He was batting at 80, 16 of 22.
It wasn't an ideal day for Rishabh Pant, the captain. It wasn't an ideal day for Rishabh Pant, the batter. Rishabh Pant, the batter, in a chase, by the way, the chase was well and truly on till the 12th over because of what Jake Fraser McGurk had done. He had brought down the required run rate to under 12 at one point. You're needing just about 12 runs at the halfway stage, and we've seen teams chase with even the required run rate being as high as 14 at times. So it wasn't like the most impossible thing, and you still had 8 wickets in hand. So things looked very evenly poised then, because you were there and thereabouts. Yes, SRH were always about 20-30 runs ahead, but remember they also had a bit of a slowdown, which is why you possibly saw that 300 run mark not been breached today. Having said that, Delhi did have the start. Can Delhi say that they didn't have the start? Delhi did have a start, but it's the middle order batters that didn't step up. Abhishek Porel may have gotten a 40 odd of 22, but he was rusty. Rishabh Pant was even more rusty on the day, and it sums up for you, not going by whatever total that he's finished with. It's the fact that when he came on to bat, his first 6 I think came after he had scored about 20 runs already. In a chase as massive as 260 odd, you cannot be getting to your first 20 runs without having scored a big hit. That too when the required run rate had already climbed to 12, 14, and then because of that slowdown it had then jumped to 18, 19 and furthermore as well. So Rishabh Pant will have to take the onus today, and I don't get this whole idea. Yes, at times when you want to give your batters some more game time and some confidence, like was the case the other day against GT, then also Abhishek Porel was promoted ahead of Rishabh Pant. But I get the idea then that you want to give, and that was a match in the hand, let's say. You didn't have to do much even before the batting started for you. You knew 90 runs, it's just a matter of time how quickly you're going to be getting. Yes, you lost 4 wickets in the process, but the idea was to go have a good hit over there, express yourself, let's get there as soon as possible. So I understand the occasion called for time and experience to be given to the younger players. Today, in a big chase, sorry boss, this is a cardinal sin, by the way.
Yeah.
It's a cardinal sin with the bat. That you slowed down, and of course this whole decision, whosoever it was, and the buck will stop with the captain. The captain is very much responsible over there to have allowed, if it wasn't really his call as well, to have allowed this whole decision to be taken. And Rishabh Pant, the captain, also erred behind the stumps as well. It made no sense to bowl Lalit Yadav in the power play. Twice you did that. After 20 runs that he gave away, 21 I think, in the second over, you had no business bowling him again in the fourth. That's just poor captaincy.
Yep. And today, look, you were 37 runs behind in the power play, okay? Delhi at least went to 98 for 2 in 6 overs. That was one, okay? But still, they were in touching distance. By 12th over, they were 154. That was the platform that Jake Fraser-McGurk had given you.
And how many do you end up getting in the last 7.5 overs then?
45 more runs.
See?
Now, look at the number of boundaries after that. Rishabh Pant had shut shop, 3 boundaries at 8 and a 6. Then you look at others. Lalit Yadav hit 1 boundary, but that was when the ship had sailed. Nothing from the rest.
And at one point, don't forget, they had gone nearly 3 overs without getting a boundary, 16 balls,
yes,
with no boundaries.
This was the difference. In an SRH that slowed down, I don't think they had a streak wherein they had 16-20 balls without a boundary.
And SRH that slowed down also ended up making up for it with the Shahbaz
Ahmed 50 of 29 balls.
Yes, he was also going run a ball at one point, but look at the acceleration that you saw from him later on.
Yes.
He was the one who was enforcing, who was taking the initiative then and pushing. He kept pushing his team towards a target in excess of 250, 260.
But look at it this way. I mean, we always talk about when we're watching an IPL and a T20 World Cup here. Somehow everything seems to just circle back to that.
Yeah.
And we have been saying very clearly that, listen, whatever said and done, Pant is a sure shot in that team. But I mean, surely, let's be honest, a performance like this has to be raising questions for you all, right?
It has to be.
One more thing. Rishabh Pant is well and truly in contention. We know that. We've seen a couple of 50s, whatever, 40 plus 40 odd totals as well. He's, he has over 200 runs now in the tournament. We know he's getting runs with the bat after a slow start that he had to the IPL. But look where he batted today. Today he batted at number 6. If he is to go do, for the Indian team going forward, bat again at number 6, number 7, because that ideally will be a spot. Number 6 is where the Indian team has a vacancy. That also provided a Rinku, then you take that decision, okay, Rinku, we're fine with him getting 7, 8, 9 balls, whatever. He bats even lower than Rishabh Pant. Now, Rishabh Pant, if he's to come out and bat for the Indian team at number 6, is that the kind of intent then you expect from him? No, he will not have the luxury. He will not have the luxury to play 10 balls and have 6 runs off those 10 in a chase of 250 plus. The Indian team, yes, will not be conceding 250 plus. But even in a big chase, somebody batting at number 6, sorry, you cannot be having 6 runs against your name in 10 balls.
For me, this knock actually highlights what exactly my major problem was. People kept pointing, and see, this is a weird thing. Even when we kind of move forward in looking at or judging a batter's contribution, even there sometimes we'll just take numbers to warp our narrative. Why do I say that? Because for the longest time, what's the number you'd always say? Average,
Strike rate.
average. Then later it became strike rate, justifiably so, considering that in a format like T20, especially the IPL the way it is now, averages are overrated. No one cares about an average. Then what do you start looking at? Strike rate, strike rate, strike rate. But even there you need a context. I'm sorry, you cannot be looking at just his strike rate, but also be looking at how consistently is he hitting boundaries. Is he, getting off to quick starts? So with someone, for instance, say like a Rinku Singh, to give you an example, he will end up getting you boundaries in the first 3-4 balls. And after that, doesn't really stop, because that's all that he's going for. He's only going for the boundaries. And he knows that if he's batting 9-10 balls, then boss, that's what I jolly well have to do. I'll either hit out or get out. With Pant, he tends to take that time to settle himself in, then wait to attack one bowler, which is fair if you're a middle order batter. But do India need a middle order wicket keeping batter? You don't. You need someone who's going to come in and whack it from ball 1, or at least try to whack it from ball 1. With Rishabh, you're not even getting that. And that is why this match was like my worst nightmare, and also showed the worst of Pant, which you have seen in T20I cricket, where he'd come in 6 down or at number 6 and was just bogged down. he just looked out of sorts because he'd be looking to slog, but it was mindless slogging.
Yep.
Not smart hitting. And that was the issue today. He did get a couple of boundaries towards the end, but by that point, the horse had bolted. It didn't matter.
It didn't matter. And today,
Look at the Delhi batter. Look at all Delhi batters who scored a minimum of 16 runs, let's say. Okay? Because there's only 4 batters you could talk about who scored a minimum of 16 runs. Prithvi Shaw, minimum score of 16 over there. Scores 4 fours, strike rate of 320.
gets out, yeah.
Okay. Then let's talk about Jake Fraser McGurk. 18 balls, 65, strike rate of 361. Third batter, Abhishek Purell. Rusty, but even then manages a strike rate of 190 in the 42 runs that he scores. Rishabh Pant has 2 more runs than Abhishek Purell.
But has
strike rate
13
of
balls more
125.
and 125.
125 is probably going to be an acceptable strike rate if you're chasing somewhere around 125, 130. You were chasing 150 runs more almost today, and the strike rate didn't even touch 150. It's not acceptable. And that too, when you walked in, the situation was there for Delhi to go for the win. At least try. What's more disappointing from a Delhi perspective is, from the fans' perspective, twice that you conceded in excess of 250, 260 runs. The other day you lost by a margin of 106. You were expecting a better performance, a better fight. This looked like a pitch, and we'll talk about the pitch as well, because I think there was something about the pitch here which we didn't really expect in terms of how it slowed down towards the end. But that's not to say that Delhi aren't culprits or to be blamed or are not to be blamed for this particular loss. The fact that you were well on track, and then even then you lost by a margin of 60 plus runs. That's not good enough. We were okay. We all thought, there were runs on offer, but a 20-25. What was the silver lining for RCB the other day? They were chasing a record total, but look at the fight that they gave.
And look at
25 run margin.
25
exactly.
runs. 25 runs.
And so had the margin been in and around 25-30, you would have understood, okay, yes, it's a proper fight. Yeah. But today, that day, while chasing 273, beg your pardon, that day, you succumbed and you lost by 106 runs.
And all wickets out again.
Today as well, 5 balls to spare.
You are all out.
You are all out. Not good.
Not good at all. And see, this is the problem. Whatever could go wrong for Rishabh Pant today went wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this, by the way, not for the first time this season, I may add.
Yep.
Not for the first time this
It's
season.
happened 3 times.
Yeah.
4 times, I may add. The RR game, the MI game, the KKR game, now the SRH game. 4 times where everything that could go wrong has gone wrong for Rishabh Pant. Today, he was clearly frazzled by that onslaught that Travis Head and Abhishek Sharma had done. He was frazzled because he changed bowlers. He didn't change the bowler that he had to, but he didn't.
Yes.
He didn't do that. That impacted his batting. Firstly, demoting himself to that number 6, there was a question asked as to whether it's a directive that the Indian cricket team have indirectly given him, that he has to bat at 6 and show whether you're capable enough for it. I don't buy into that argument, because today the pitch was a road.
Not just that, Siddharth, it's not about the pitch. I think our franchises really allowing the Indian cricket team or the management to dictate what's happening in the IPL.
It's never been the case, and it's never going to be the case.
Which is why I
said. It
said.
wasn't the case last year, neither is it this year. KL Rahul, there were multiple reports that he wanted to bat in the middle order.
Where's he batting?
Where's he batting?
In the opening, which is why I said I don't buy that theory.
Exactly.
Okay? I don't buy that theory. And now, today, the pitch was like a road. Today was the right time for Rishabh Pant to be absolutely free of the shackles. You wanted a good pitch, you got it. Go for it. Okay, agreed in that 1 over that Cummins bowled to him. That was superb. Just around off stump, not giving him any kind of width or pace to work with. That's vintage Pat Cummins. But at the other end, he just didn't want to accelerate. 18 of 22 in a chase of 267. Your game is done. And whatever you may add those cosmetic changes, you have hit about 26 runs more in the next 13 deliveries. Still fine, the strike rate of close to 180. Great job, but then you already lost the match. You already lost the game, and today the 2 promotions and a demotion. You promoted Abhishek Purell, but he kind of did the job. But then you didn't promote an Axar Patel over a Lalit Yadav. I'm sorry, a Lalit Yadav is at best a guy suited for a 160, 170 kind of a chase.
Lalit Yadav is the definition of a bits and pieces player. He'll give you a bit of batting, a bit of bowling, and a bit of fielding. That's the extent of it. If I'm Axar Patel, I feel a little offended that I'm demoted for him when Axar last season was probably one of the better batters that DC had. I'm not even talking about his bowling. As a pure batter, Axar Patel would be walking into that 11 and pretty much many other 11s. He got like 300 or 400 odd runs, if memory serves me right. So it's not like he can't whack it. So I just don't understand. What was the thinking? Were you trying to surprise SRH? The only surprise it would have been was that they were surprised that Axar Patel didn't come out. Just like all of us were.
Exactly, and that's why today, whatever you may say, Rishabh Pant has done his chances a big harm here.
But you know, the only other team, actually finish your point, then I'll carry on.
He's done his chances a big harm here, because if you're batting in that position and if the Indian cricket team is in, that's why you're going to bat at number 6. Big trouble, boss. Big trouble, and it will again give the naysayers a lot of ammunition, because this is the same reason why your T20 career.
But I'm saying, how many naysayers are there, you know, when you're talking about Rishabh Pant?
There is a significant amount, because see, I have always maintained, you can check and rewind our previous videos also and stories, I have added the EQ factor, emotional quotient factor in the Rishabh Pant thing. Otherwise, you can't ignore his T20 numbers. They are bad. They are really bad. He's
120 odd strike rate in 60
and
games.
23 average. Okay.
Not doing it.
Now, in the IPL in 2021, he tried to go big, but then he failed. He didn't have a good strike rate and average. In 2022, he tried to go big. He got runs, but his strike rate suffered. Here, he's in a catch-22, because, okay, his team may not alone, but today, you need not have gotten a David Warner back. That was another mistake that they did, because let us admit it, David Warner is not the David Warner. It's gone now. That he's a pale shadow of his former self. You promoted a Porel, but that somehow worked. But then you demoted yourself and demoted an Axar Patel, 2 batters who could have at least gotten time and they could have accelerated. So I am very sorry today for the naysayers. The ammunition has been given, and if you pick a Rishabh Pant because of the emotional quotient factor, then be prepared, because how can an individual for 61 T20Is, there are certain people who don't crack the code, right? Surya Kumar Yadav, he could never crack the ODI code. Maybe a Rishabh Pant can't crack the T20I code. I think it's beyond him. He is a great match winner in tests. He's a good player in ODIs. But as far as T20Is and T20s is concerned, it's been 7 years since he last had a big 100. And on top of that, 50s and 40s. He's throwing it away at crucial intervals. Here, he just shut shop. Maybe one part you can credit that the SRH bowlers did well, but that doesn't exist. You are supposed to be a good player. You have to.
What do good batters do? You know, Rishabh Pant's a top dog. Simple as that. You know, you talk about the other players, the expectation from all big players, from the Virats to the Rohits to the Butlers as well, you know. What is the one thing that we say? That, you know, they find a way out. The idea today was to, you know, put the pressure back. What is it that Travis Head has been doing, not just to the you know, today's bowling unit, but to all the bowling units that he's faced so far, barring a couple of failures here and there. He's found ways of putting the pressure back on the bowlers. So the idea for Rishabh Pant, the aura that he has, the stature that he enjoys at his young age, the expectation also is going to be that much. You cannot be starting off the way that you did today, and the idea was to then you know, put the pressure back. You had to find a, because it's not like the, you know, when you walked into bat with Axar, I agree, if he didn't get runs today, it was already a lost match by the time, or you know, by the time that he walked in. The asking run rate had then jumped to about 20. When Rishabh was there, the scenario was completely different. So he and the buck will stop on him. The only thing, yes, if you were to give him some sort of concession, it wasn't the easiest conditions by the time that he walked in, because we saw that those cutters had really started to work, that the ball was really starting to stop. Abhishek Porel struggled after a point, Rishabh Pant struggled, the entire Delhi middle order struggled as a result, and that is something that you have to give credit to the SRH bowlers as well, because they realized that the wicket had now started to stop a bit, and somebody like a Pat Cummins, Nattu, Bhuvi, they were all very good in terms of mixing their cutters, and none of those cutters were then dispatched.
So, and also what this does now, and again, we're reaching that point in the season where you're going to be analyzing every team's playoff chances, at least the ones that are still in contention. And I have to point out that as of now, mathematically, no team has been eliminated yet. But DC have now gotten 8 games. 8 games, 5 losses, 3 wins. First off, that's not the kind of form you show, but we have seen teams in the past kind of come back strong. That being said, Out of their next 6 matches.
No.
now,
They're left with less than 8 now. This
no,
was
8
their-
they've played. They
That's
have
what.
6 left.
So 6 left.
Huh,
That's what.
6
yeah.
left. That means of the 6 left, they need to be winning 5.
5.
Ooh, that is a tough ask, especially when you consider that, as you guys were rightly pointing out, that the flatness or whatever flatness they tried to kind of put on the Delhi pitch was breaking apart by the time the match was coming to
And
an
I
end.
think if the ball got softer, it became difficult to score. Today, when you look at the fag end, when the ball was hit all over the park, it was getting softer. Run scoring became difficult. It needed some that puts Shahbaz Ahmed's knock in a greater perspective then.
Yeah, because he was tonking it.
Yeah, his knock made a difference of 240 and 260.
There's one more thing, and this is again, it's not perfect science, but somewhere the captain will be held responsible, and not just captain, the think tank as well. I think they read the pitch wrong.
Yeah.
It was a toss that Delhi had won, don't forget.
And they opted to bowl.
They opted to bowl, so it is in the bigger scheme of things.
In the DC, I just want to know, DCMI and DC KKR, did they win the toss and opt to bowl? Because if that is the case, then man, these are 3 blunders.
Actually, you're right. I think in the KKR game, they won the toss. They did win the toss because the last game they had beaten CSK,
Yes.
in which they had defended.
Yeah.
Yes.
Remember? And then they won the toss and put KKR into bat.
Oh,
I don't remember that.
We'll have
I
to
don't
check.
No, I know you're right. I think it was Shreyas who won the toss.
I don't remember that.
Huh.
I don't remember.
I can check. Hold on.
you can check. So that is the thing. Their pitch reading this time has been really, really off the. I think in the Mumbai game, I think Mumbai won the toss and chose to. They chose to bat.
Bat.
I think so. Let's just.
I'll
check.
just double check these. You guys keep
Yeah.
talking. I'll come back
So-
to those. MI and KKR are the matches
MI
we're
KKR,
looking
yeah,
at.
yeah.
All right.
So today, I think Rishabh Pant will want to whitewash 20th April. It's been a terrible, terrible day for them. And whatever it is now, Delhi are in the same boat as
Actually,
RCB.
the MI game, which was played recently in Wankhede, right? Delhi Capitals opted to bowl.
Opted to bowl. Okay, that's one blunder. This is the second blunder.
But see, opting to bowl over there, I get, because this was a Mumbai ground where you could chase. The problem was you give away too many runs at the end.
Yeah. It was and it was a day game, so we didn't know how good it would be or how bad it would be. But then in the DC KKR game, I'm just waiting.
Wankhede, 9.
KKR won the toss, opted to bat.
Then that's okay. So fine. That they couldn't do anything about it. So it's a terrible game all round for DC. I mean, if they had a 15-10 run loss, you would have then said, okay, well tried.
Yeah. Right now you can't say that there's any silver lining for Delhi over here. You know, it's not like any of the batters gone to form or anything. There's no takeaway. Let's say, I'm just going back to the day that we saw the record total as far as IPL goes. That was, for the losing side, there was silver lining there in DK, somebody who's now certainly become the talk of the town, and you're talking about taking him to the T20 World Cup. So there was a big takeaway over there.
Yeah.
Somebody smashing at that age, when the match you thought was well and truly, past the chasing team. He gets you about an 83-run knock in no time.
Yep.
So there was silver lining there. Today, Delhi, are they looking at any silver lining? I don't think there's any silver lining over here. Jake Fraser-McGurk comes in with the reputation. He scored runs the previous time as well. If there's somebody who gave you a little bit of a sniff today, it was thanks to him. But nothing that you didn't expect happened today.
Yeah, I mean, we know Jake Fraser-McGurk can hit a long ball. We know he can do it at a frighteningly consistent rate. That's pretty much the only thing we saw that was an only positive sign. But again, what else have we been saying? That Warner's form has been concerning? Check. That Prithvi Shaw will get you starts but nothing beyond that? Check. That Pant at times can struggle in the T20 format? Check. There wasn't a single thing. And again, that's why I'm saying this team, and not just the batting, chalo, I'll still give the batting some bit of concession. This bowling just doesn't inspire any confidence in me. I mean, you look at everyone is inconsistent.
It was something that was pointed out again when you were making the 11s also, even after the auction, because what were Delhi found guilty of after the auction? The fact that the Indian bowling contingent wasn't really good enough.
Yeah.
Yes, on a given day, and those days will be far and few between. We discussed that the other day as well, when you knock out a team for just 89 runs and everything's just
going right.
Going like a dream and falls into place. You're not going to have that easy or cakewalk every time. The inconsistencies of this Delhi bowling unit is what has hampered their progress, I would say, for 2 seasons now.
Yep.
Today, when you start to get a beating, none of the guys really, were able to get their act together, or, just
Axar Patel aside.
Axar aside, especially the seamers, let's say, the seamers, that's a big problem with Mukesh.
Khalil, Nortje.
Last year it was Chetan Sakaria, put together, there was Fizz as well. it was just not happening this time as well. You look at the Indian unit, that's where the disappointment is. With every other team that you see in the franchise, there is an experienced Indian at least leading that bowling attack that gives some sort of confidence. What was happening until 2021 for Delhi and was working out well for them was the fact that there was an Anrik Nokia who looked absolutely unplayable after a point.
And Kagiso Rabada.
Once that pair got separated, got detached, it hasn't been the same bowling lineup since then.
In fact, that DC lineup, I remember, had a lot of heavy Indian batting. So what that did was it gave them an advantage of playing two seamers who were foreign. That's why you could fit in both Kagiso Rabada as well as
and you had an Avesh who had a good season as well.
Yeah, I'm saying if you look at the batting
and
purely,
plus you had an Axar and an Ashwin as a bowling setup. Who dried up runs in the middle over.
You had a clear, let's say, hierarchy of Indian batting predominantly. Who were your openers? You had Dhawan and Shaw. Your middle order had a Shreyas Iyer there. Akshar would come to bat lower. The only foreign player proper in that regard used to be a Shimron
Hetwire.
Yep.
And you'd have maybe one batter who'd come in between. But beyond that, it was mostly the Indians who propped up that batting lineup. You had a lot of Indian talent, most of whom was actually doing well, and then you couldn't retain them in the mega auction, and thus your set formula went for a toss. Because you had two foreign players, two foreign pacers, who would dry up the runs very nicely in the death as well. And they could bowl equally effectively both on the power play and the death. Nokia also struggling because he hasn't had anyone to bowl in tandem with. Khalil inconsistent, Mukesh inconsistent.
Ishant
probably
prone.
their best bowler, but poor guy doesn't.
Injury prone.
He's injury prone and coming towards the fag end of his own career. How much are you going to expect out of him?
But if I'm the Australian team and I'm looking at the World T20, Travis Head and Jake Fraser McGurk opening.
If I'm the Australian team, I'm hoping that the World Cup starts tomorrow.
Man, that opening combo of Head and Jake Fraser McGurk. I think this is going to be scary. It was if Langer and Hayden in tests could intimidate you, this opening combo, if it happens, Jake Fraser McGurk and Travis Head, be scared. Be very, very scared.
I mean, considering the kind of form that Warner's been in, even in T20 I's, it wouldn't really surprise me if the team management benched him because he wasn't really doing that well.
Yes.
He wasn't doing that well, we know that.
And imagine you may have a Stoinis or Marsh in the middle order. Then you all have all those power hitters coming in. Cam Green, mind you, is a very different player for Australia than he is for RCB. Don't judge him based on I know. I mean, I'm telling you, this batting lineup is scary. And that's why now we'll come to SRH. I mean, now they have moved to second in the table. The one thing
though, Siddharth, before we go on to talk about the visiting side, I think let's just spend some time talking about the one man who deserved more in this match from the Delhi side, and which is an Axar Patel. With the ball, again, it will always be remembered again as a match in which Jake Fraser McGurk scored run. Travis Head, one will remember this match for
Abhishek Sharma.
You will remember this match for Shabazz maybe. But the one man who was really impressive, and then we can perhaps talk about Nattu as well, because from the SRH camp,
4 wickets.
That's the one bowler you have to be talking about.
Yeah.
But Axar Patel, the bowler, really stepped up today, and he showed where at a time when batters were milking runs, he wasn't getting turned. There was not turn on offer, and we know that he's not a prodigious turner of the ball anyway. The fact aside that there wasn't any grip to offer, just makes his bowling spell look far more impressive than what the scorecard might suggest. It is anyway suggesting a great
superhuman spell.
A superhuman spell. It paints a very beautiful picture, but to cramp the batters, that was the one takeaway. He was cramping the batters today with the ball, and he was varying his speeds. That's what experienced bowlers do.
Which is why when the man of the match was announced, I was very disappointed. Because you should have either given it to a T Natarajan, because SRH won. If Delhi had won, forget the numbers. 1 for 29 on this road deserved a man of the match.
Exactly.
Because he's done the most thankless thing. When every other bowler went in excess of 13, 14, he was the only guy with the economy rate of 7.
Yeah. Going at nearly half that, mind you.
I know. And today, T Natarajan, what a spell by him. And because of that, these are the two bowling heroes in a pitch that was only made for machines.
Yeah.
Today, a bowling machine only could have had success. Look at 4 overs, 1 maiden. 1 maiden, 4 for 19.
It's not often that you get to speak of bowlers in a match when you see so many runs being scored.
Correct.
Which is why, let's say, Nathan Bracken, remember the time that you saw at Joburg?
Yes. 5 for 67.
5 wicket haul for him. Again, he didn't have a long, cricketing career. That's another matter. But why do you talk about that particular spell in high regard even till date? Because picking 5 wickets on that dead track.
872 runs and he picks up a 5-wicket haul at an economy rate of 6.7.
Today's 4-wicket haul for T 20 is actually as good as 100, by the way, by a batter.
100 of 30 balls.
Yes.
That's why he got a maiden. 4 overs, 1 maiden, 4 for 19, and that's where Hyderabad's weakest suit today, Nitish Reddy and even Mayank Markande chipped in. Bhuvaneshwar Kumar 1 for 33, 8.2. It made up for the disaster that Washington Sundar had. 16 runs in 1 over, 30 runs, and all from Jake Fraser McGurk. 4, 6, 6, 4, 6, 4. Man, oh man, that guy was next level today.
And credit to Pat Cummins, the captain. We've appreciated him a couple of times already. I think he's made some very smart decisions today as well. Once he realized that the ball's starting to get slow now, he didn't bowl Mayank Markande after that.
Yes.
He knew that the pacers had to be brought in. He himself was relatively good on the day. 4 overs, 35. That's good in a match where you saw in excess of 350 runs being scored, 400 runs rather being scored. In a match of this level, to be knowing when to make that change and himself walking the talk, let's say, something which I would say the Delhi captain today could not, given the rate that he was batting at one point and the match had already slipped away. So very good captaincy and not only leading by example but others as well following. So look at all the pacers though. Yes, Washington went for runs, but look at the other bowlers. Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, Pat Cummins, T Natarajan, the 3 pacers, all giving away. T Natarajan, of course.
Their combined has been 87 runs in 12 overs.
See?
87 runs. And look at Shahbaz and I'll include Nitish Reddy also. 14 overs, so that means 104 runs in 14.1 overs. That is phenomenal. 7 on a wicket where you conceded over 10.
Shows the experience. See, after 2 overs, or Shahbaz, I think Shahbaz bowled that 1 over in the power play when he got hit for 22 runs, doesn't give him the second over.
Yes.
What do you do with Lalit? You gave him the first over, he concedes about 20 or 21 runs there, you give him another over.
Yeah. That's why you lost it.
Boggles the mind, that sort of a decision.
But if already compared to last year, Sunrisers Hyderabad are doing much better under Cummins. They are in second position. Which is why I said, if he somehow by a miracle wins the IPL for Sunrisers Hyderabad, build the man a statue here.
All I'll say with Sunrisers is that one, they proved a lot of people wrong, A, and number 2, I think Nikhil picked the wrong year to back SRH than not back SRH.
I know.
He backed them big time last year when they were a bunch of no-hopers. This time around, he's like once bitten, twice shy, which I totally get.
Yes.
I would also in that same position be doing just that. But then they're going and playing like this.
Today they redefined aggression. This is insanity, and this is where I want to point out that look at the new age batting by Travis Head and Abhishek Sharma. Gone is that thing. One guy is hitting, I'll just play anchor, give a single, I'll give the
give a single works if you're chasing.
You're chasing.
Because then you know that, okay, one guy is going berserk, you don't need that many runs. Here is the first match you're playing in Delhi. You don't know how the pitch is going to play. Boss, if it's playing good now, let me make hay whilst the sun shines. And that was the attitude they had.
See, I will again say this. Today was another exhibition that we saw now for probably the umpteenth time this season from SRH. RCB, I know they're not playing today, they play tomorrow, but then RCB are what SRH are what RCB thought they were. SRH know very well that they don't have a good bowling lineup, and today as well, see, against Delhi, a team that are not one of the strongest teams, you conceded 200 runs. The other day as well, when you scored 287, you gave away 260 odd runs as well. They know they don't have a good bowling lineup. They know this is a bowling lineup that they cannot rely much upon. RCB knew the same. They knew they had to be scoring in excess of 200 to be able to give themselves a chance of winning. SRH have gone beyond. Possibly they have realized that we need to be doing much more than 220, 230 to be able to give ourselves a chance. And which is why this aggressive hitting, and they're pulling it off. They've cracked the code. Abhishek Sharma, who had a lean couple of years in coming into the IPL, was in and out of the side last year. This year, he scored 200 runs in the power play alone, and look at the rate at which he's striking the ball.
This is insane, and this is where new age batting. One guy is hitting, no problem. I'll make your job doubly difficult, I'll also hit.
Yeah, and mind you, in the first couple of overs, Abhishek Sharma was going to play 1-2 balls. But those 1-2 balls he's hitting for boundaries.
Yes.
Madness.
Look at, there were two duos that I remember in this. Sanat Jayasurya and Romesh Kalavatrana. 90s, you thought, okay, you have to consolidate in the power play. These guys said, consolidate, I'll hit you out of the park, I'll hit you over the infield and get you fours.
In the peak, also for a very brief while, Sachin and Ganguly were very similar.
Yes.
Because they never looked to consolidate. They knew, boss, first 15 overs is when you've got the field up, and I'm talking about those days, ODIs, where you didn't have.
It was then carried by Dada and Viru.
Yes, both of them also would always only look to be aggressive.
Yep.
They did not look at it and say, no, if Sehwag will be like, see, Sehwag never had the mentality of if the other person is hitting, I'll stop.
Yeah.
But even Ganguly, being the senior pro, being the captain, he could have also said, no, I'll get my runs. I'll get my knock off and get run a ball hundreds, which would have been perfectly fine in those days. But no, he was also looking to go. In fact, his average would dip as a result because he was only looking to bat.
And if I have to look at the team that you sometimes back, Alex Hales, Josh Butler, England. One will hit, okay, I'll also match you, I'll also hit you.
But 2019, there was no Hales.
Yeah.
Remember, you had Bairstow
And
and
Roy.
Roy. And both of them were doing the same thing. They did not care. They would look and say, boss, okay, if Roy sees that Bairstow is hitting, I'll also join in on the fun. Bairstow sees Roy hitting, I'll also join in on the fun.
This is new age T20 batting. And I'm
Like
sorry,
white ball cricket.
white ball cricket, T20I, because look at it, it is, I mean, we were all thinking 300 might be breached. 6 overs,
If
125.
it wasn't for Kuldeep Yadav's spell
And
It was
Axar.
being breached.
and Aksar's, yes, this
was
was
getting
definitely getting away. The history books were rewritten.
Yeah.
Almost were.
And in today's segment,
Meme.
which is becoming a regular segment on our Sports Today post matches, it's time for Meme Watch.
Meme
where we
Watch,
pick out the
yes.
best of memes.
And Travis Head and Haris Rao's photos there. जिस हिसाब से ट्रैविस हेड खेल रहा है वर्ल्ड कप में तो 4 ओवर में 100 रन करेगा. I don't disagree with that, यार. This is, see, in the MI game, Travis Head hit the fastest 50, but a couple of minutes later, Abhishek Sharma hit. Here, the fastest 50 was hit, but Jake Fraser McGurk did it. Look at the way these Aussies are batting at this point in time. सांस लेता हूं तो वन मोर मीम, सांस लेता हूं तो बॉल बाउंड्री के बाहर चली जाती है.
I do feel for you here, Rishabh. Keep rolling.
And that too,
keep it
सांस लेता हूं in Delhi, it's got very
Oh,
dark
yeah.
connotations in that sense.
Exactly.
Next
Literally.
meme,
But not the entire year, Siddharth.
4
Please
months.
be nice.
Hey, today it was polluted.
I love what this is that Travis had watching Rishabh Pant batting saying, "Bhai, kya kar raha hai tu? What are you doing?" So,
Good one, good
point.
one.
Good
Ashneer
point.
Grover over there.
I mean, obviously, one left-hander is saying, "What are you doing?" And
Once upon a time in RCB.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Travis Head was, in fact, this was 2016. if I'm not
16,
mistaken.
yes, yes.
But at that time, of course, he wasn't the Travis Head. Of course, he had already been anointed for greatness by
Shane Warne.
Yes, Shane Warne. But that time, he wasn't the same batter. But now, man.
I think the making of Travis Head was the Ashes of 2021. On difficult pitches, he got hundreds.
Yeah.
And since then, whenever he sees the color blue, he goes mad.
No, he started taking a special liking to Indians now. It wasn't just the blue.
See.
In whites also he punished us.
Yeah, but then see, there is a blue in India, na? Mumbai Indians blue, Delhi Capitals blue.
Mumbai Indians.
I said
India
Mumbai
in
Indians.
general.
India in general.
This is a good one because it's showing SRH today. You're showing 4 of the star players going to breach a Delhi Capitals door that is basically being held together by what I'm assuming is a namkeen. Basically a little chip.
A little chip,
God.
yeah.
Oh god.
Oh God.
That's
This-
accurate. Meme
That's
of the day.
very accurate, yep.
Any more?
Any more?
Of course.
अरे कुछ नहीं ऋषभ भाई, टूटा है गावा का घमंड, याद आ गया था मुझे. Oh yes.
God. And don't forget, this time you're going to be up against a Travis Head when you travel down under.
Yes.
Oh dear.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh dear.
Travis Head.
सामने वाली टीम की जर्सी दूसरे कलर की है, ही इज स्लीपिंग. सामने वाली टीम की जर्सी ब्लू कलर की हो, and wakes up.
Kumbhakaran and Ravan in
Oh
that
my
sense. But
goodness.
actually, he's been consistent across. I mean, he's had runs against every color jersey if you have to look at it.
Exactly.
So, oof, it is.
take some
And I
small
think Shane also will be trying to cool down a bit because
Huh?
Chelsea
Oh,
lost.
that's not cool down moment because we were always never going to be the favorites.
Yeah.
1-0. I'm kind of glad it's only 1-0. Let's put it that way.
85th minute a goal was scored. So, yeah. Shankar, first super chat to compliment Shane on not jumping on the take punt to World Cup bandwagon. He is not fit.
What happened here?
What did you do? It's gone here. I can't see. See here.
Look at what's happened here.
What's happened here?
We,
it's back now.
It's back.
Yeah, he's not fit and was excruciating to watch. Fellow KKR fans.
Thank you, Shankar. Yeah.
Yeah, as I had mentioned, everybody here said Pant EQ. He's going on the emotional quotient factor only.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Divyang says Abhishek Sharma and Nattu need to be in discussion for the World T20.
Again?
Just close it,
Especially as our fast bowling is very concerning. But disappointed with Pant. No runs is okay, but where's the intent? See, I disagree on the first part. I don't think you need to add more people to the thing, mix and make it an even more, bigger khichdi. Agree regarding Pant.
Yeah, but Abhi and Nattu are maybe, see, Natarajan's coming back into form now after a very chronic knee injury that he's
After 2 years of him being pretty poor, let's be frank.
Let us just not jump after one game, Divyang. I mean, honestly, Abhishek.
He's had an okay season.
Yeah.
T. Natarajan has not been a hopeless year for him.
Yeah.
He's shown signs of
But
brilliance.
he's done well here.
Yeah,
but
it's been a mixed
fitness.
bag of sorts. So he's been a touch expensive also on a couple of occasions.
Yep.
But today, of course, has been the best performance of his this whole
It
season.
was. Daniel M from Australia saying, Ishan Porel initially anchored but accelerated. Ishan Porel no, I Porel no, A Porel. Yeah?
A.
Abhishek Porel.
Yeah, it's Abhishek Patel. Ishan Porel's a pacer.
Pacer, yeah. Head plus Jake Fraser McGurk opening is deadly. And Australia players are beginning to warm up. India squad looks weak overall. I mean,
Agree on all counts.
as I said, Jake Fraser McGurk and Travis Head.
You need to start making plans for the guy already.
Yeah. Karthik K from the US. Abhi is a better all-rounder.
Abhishek.
Jaddu Axar can hit sixes at will, but where does
But
he
where
bowl?
barely bowls. That's part of the problem.
And Abhishek bowled and he gets hit for runs, yeah, Karthik.
See, I mean, there's obviously an all-rounder there, but he just doesn't get enough chance to do it with his franchise, and I don't blame them. He's still a work in progress
Yes,
as a bowler.
yes.
As a pure batter, though, man, this guy is something.
And
This
he's
guy is
really
something.
improved.
Oh, he's improved leaps and
Leaps
bounds.
and bounds, yes.
So, Praneeth Datta with a sarcastic comment that I do wholeheartedly agree with, so I'll take it, says that this is how you put your name in the T20 World Cup. Get 100, but the team can't chase 200 to win. Get your 44, but filter away a chance to chase a record score. Jaiswal needs to learn this kind of selfish batting too.
Yeah, I mean, Jaiswal has had a
That's
horrendous.
Praneeth Datta, by the way. And Praneeth wholeheartedly agree with you.
Yes. Praneeth
And
Datta
also-
again. DC needed 100 odd runs in 10 overs when Pant came, started playing test cricket. Only one of us has been a winning innings, still your top choice wicket-keeper spot.
See, Praneeth, when we pick the top choice, more often than not, we pick it as what the management would go for. When it comes to us, we have Pant at best in the squad, at best.
Yeah.
I don't even have him there.
Most of us have often said that, listen, he's batting out of position. So is Sanju, by the way. So we're not singling out Rishabh Pant over
Yeah.
here. Ultimately, yes, you could say that, one has to be taken. Yes. But there's actually just one person who's auditioning for the right spot.
Yeah. But Mayank Madan is like selected his playing 11. Abhishek, Jaiswal, Gill,
Three.
Sky, Dubey, Rinku, DK should be top 7. Abhishek and Dubey are good 2-over bowlers, I believe. Kohli, Rohit, Jadeja, Rahul, Iyer, Siraj should be nowhere near a T20I. City 1, sorry Shane.
Mayank is out
But
there.
Mayank Madan, what an idealistic world. What a paradise that is. The names that you suggested. In a parallel universe, that should be. But that's not going to be.
Also, the other problem is this is, let's say, the best 11 that you make as far as Indian players are concerned from
In
the
the
IPL.
And
Exactly.
yaar,
So
Mayank
this
Madan-
is IPL's best 11 Indian players.
It looks like a knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's a
You miss
knee-jerk.
Mayank then, by the way. Then possibly Mayank goes into the squad by that logic.
Mayank Yadav.
But not
Yeah.
everything can just be. See, IPL performances are to be taken with a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Akshay Kiste, I do remember your name now, but Delhi did not chase this down. 67 runs, I'm sorry. We do remember that. Remember my name. I do remember your name, Akshay Kiste, not Akshat. I just remembered out of the back of my mind.
Okay.
Anybody, any other comment? We are taking
Go down, go all the way
down.
down. We'll just take a couple more, say, let's see.
Okay, Karuta, what was Pant doing? Faced 35 balls and scored 44 in chase of 266. There was no match winning knocks from him apart from last game. That too, bowlers did the trick and people say he's in World Cup team. Karuta, we already had a big discussion on Rishabh Pant at the very start. Do check that out. So let's see.
Raj,
Akshat.
Akshar.
He says that Ajit Agarkar must be on high BP pills right now.
I don't blame him.
I mean, what to do?
The ones who are really in contention or are slated to be there are not necessarily setting the stage on fire after all.
I mean, the Pint Show, I wish he had a real name. Is the news about DK saying he's eyeing World T20 selection true?
Yes,
What's
we've
your
done a
fair
video on
views?
that.
Yeah. Should we believe him the big for the big last time?
I mean, see, you have worse options. If you had, say, Jitesh firing all guns and Sanju also doing well and Pant also doing well, no, I said no. But the way Indian cricket works, DK is actually putting himself in a perfect position to somehow be paratrooped. Do an Ashwin.
I'm really telling you, yaar. I mean,
Ashwin didn't actually do enough to be paratroop.
yeah, he didn't.
Actually, yeah, DK's done way more than him.
Exactly. DK is at least meriting.
But
At
yaar,
least.
DK 2022 had the same vibes. 2024, the same vibes. I'm sorry, boss.
see,
Look
again,
beyond DK.
No, I agree. I also don't want to bring him in, but you also have to remember that team management just did not seem to have much faith in him. He was being rested in bilaterals.
Yeah.
I mean, come on here. Every single one of your players who are regular T20I players who were expecting to be playing
Yeah.
were playing. He is resting.
As I said, with this Indian cricket team, as I said, analyzing a game of chess is far easier than figuring out this Indian cricket team. So only,
You'll be getting to do that in a couple of days.
of course, of course.
Not too far away.
Yeah, it's starting at 12. Round number 13 of the candidates is starting.
Ooh,
And you got one more round on Sunday, which is Super Sunday.
Yeah.
And on Monday, you could probably see history being created.
Ooh, fingers crossed.
Abhishek Rawat, what did you make of Cummins bowling to lefty round the wicket versus over the wicket? He's an absolute beast
See,
now.
this is something
Nothing
we
more
all
to add.
know. We all know, even if you watched him play Test cricket, the way he gets the angles right, straightening, nip-aways, genius.
David Malan would agree to that.
Uh-huh.
I mean, he got David Malan out so many times.
Correct.
Deepak Yadav, Pant is not fit. Please stop promoting him for WC. Ishan, DK, Samson, Edov. Deepak Yadav, we don't promote
We're
any
not,
player.
but we're just
yaar.
calling it how we see it. And by the way, when we say calling it how we see it, it's not just our opinion, it's how the winds of Indian cricket blow. That's it.
And Deepak Yadav, if we don't do that, you will say, oh, you are hating on one particular player. No.
Yeah, it's a bit
If we call someone out, look at it. We called out Pant today because his knock didn't really deserve the plaudits. And he slowed Delhi down. A Delhi Capitals
Yes.
fan will also attest to that.
Absolutely, absolutely. You had brought down the required run rate to about 12, which is again, we've seen teams chase down. We saw
Rajasthan
Royals score 96 runs in the last 6 overs the other day. So, teams are going hell for leather, and this is actually from a place you actually thought, at the start of the chase, let's say if Delhi were told, okay, you'll be requiring around 12 and over around the 11th over mark, Delhi would have taken it with both their arms wide open.
Yeah.
The opportunity was there, but then he's responsible today for that loss of momentum, and
is.
then not after giving himself all that time, then not capitalizing on it.
We'll
Last
take the
question,
final comment,
which
yeah.
is from Pranit again. Thanks for all the love. He says that if Rohit can go for the World Cup without any T20 performances, Pant can keep playing without any performances. Why can't DK go? What wrong has he done? I mean, but if you look at it from that prism, I do agree with him. At least DK has the performances.
But again, DK has had IPL performances very well, but Rohit, I mean, without any
Rohit,
T20
yeah,
performance,
Rohit's performing.
he's performing. He performed during
no,
the
I think what
Afghanistan
he's talking
series.
about is prior to that,
Previously.
prior to his recall also.
Yeah.
He had his last T20I that he had played was the
20
semi-final,
yeah.
and after that he had an atrocious IPL 2023.
And also Rohit's one major contribution is he hit that cameo in that 7-over game at Nagpur versus Australia. That was the last good match where he had an impact.
Last one again.
I
because
think
we got
Karthik
one
K.
from Karthik K. He said that Pant said that SRH will blow
Pat.
teams. Pat said Sunrisers will blow teams out of the water before the game starts. I do have to kind of agree with him. That's the kind of way they're going. I think now people are playing against the spectre of SRH rather than just play against SRH.
Yeah, I mean, Cummins is a genius, man. As I said, if he wins the IPL trophy on May 26th, build the man a statue. And
On that note,
commiserations for the Delhi Capitals fans. Now they have to win 5 out of the 6 games, or at max 6 on the trot. And tomorrow is a big game day, and Shane will be out in full flow because it's Kolkata Knight Riders versus Royal Challengers Bengaluru, the first game of Super Sunday. And the next game is GT versus the Punjab Kings at Mullapur. But tomorrow, if KKR manage to beat RCB, you'll have the first team that potentially, mathematically also, cannot make it to the playoffs.
exactly. It's a big game day.
Big game day. Yes, RCB going
And
to...
also towards the end of tomorrow, we will exactly be halfway through the tournament. 37
Yes,
games ahead.
37. The 37th game will be GT versus PBKS at Mullapur, and tomorrow could be a historic day also if you are looking at the world of broader sports. Anyway, today 3 more wrestling quotas have been secured in wrestling with Vinesh Fogart. Then you had Ritika Huda and Anshu Malik all securing it. Tomorrow, let's see what happens tonight, 12 a.m. onwards with the candidates. So from me,
You also have the first finalists of the FA Cup, Manchester City,
Oh,
are the
yes.
first
Yes.
finalists. Tomorrow you will get to know.
and I think tomorrow is also the Chinese Grand Prix.
We all know who's winning.
Yeah, and by the way, it was Max who won the sprint race.
He won the
today.
sprint race and qualified on pole for the main race with a beast of a lap. Again, you don't need to be a genius to figure out who's winning it.
Yep, and that's the way it is. So, Super Sunday tomorrow, F1, chess,
Football, chess.
cricket, football,
Lot of
all
stuff,
coming
right?
to you. So, from me, Shane, and Harshit, it's good night. See you.
Shabak Khair, Vanakam, Nandri.
Eat your vegetables and don't trouble your mother. Bye
See you
bye.
tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.